Welcome to the water table, everybody. That's Scott, and I'm Chris. So we got a good one today, Scott. We're going to talk about dashboard and what's new. You ready for this?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's just get started.
Okay.
What's new on the dashboard right now?
So what's new on the dashboard? We talked a little bit about this in the webinar, but there's three main points that we really wanted to kind of recover and drive home. So the first one is if you're looking at your home screen right now, it looks similar to this. We have this blue box right here for total water supply. We made a calculative change to that number, so that way it's going to be as accurate as possible. And so when you're looking at your account, very simply, you should be able to look at and see, is my total water supply greater or less than my ET, which is in the orange box, and be able to determine just from looking at that summary whether or not you're going to be in good or bad standing. There are a little bit of nuances to that, but as a general rule of thumb, if your blue box is greater than your orange box, then you're in good standing. If not, then you're most likely going to end up having to acquire credits or be a potential penalty.
Great. So if blue is larger than orange, green light. If orange is bigger than blue, red light.
Correct.
That's a great feature, Scott.
So the second thing that we changed is under total water supply summary down here, we have your ET credit. This is for people that either have olives, where they're receiving a credit adjustment for that, valid fields, or if we have metering appeal type items, those will all be listed in there. This right here will have additional information regarding your fallow so you can better track it. But at the bottom here, you see this line item called unusable ET credit. You may find the same thing under precipitation, unusable precipitation credit. And what that is in 23, we found that there was an over allocation of actual rainfall that hit compared to what actually ET'd on that field. And because that credit is stuck and locked to that specific APN and cannot transfer anywhere else, it is therefore not a usable credit anymore against ET on another field. And so in 23, for example, your total water supply would show you a number that was actually higher than what was actually for available use. And so what we did was we added that line item to show landowners what credits are not being currently used because there was an over allocation based on either the adjustment or rainfall that cannot be used to offset ET.
That's complicated, but I think we're getting there. The important part is, and correct me here, Scott, but the precip I can't control that anyway as a lender. So for my little ranch, it's part of my ET, it's part of my consumptive use, it's part of my total water supply, but I can't manipulate it. I can't, you know, change the order of use and put precip last, or I can't transfer my precip, or I can't sell my precip. So it looks like what you've done is a really good job of providing the best level of transparency possible to what's actually going on behind the scenes in the calculations. Is that how I should view that?
Correct, yeah. It's trying to give you the most accurate number possible for your available credits to use against ET.
Perfect. What else you got?
So the other modification is historically, we used to have a big box down here right above the graphic that included all of your carryover credits from historical years. But that was very confusing for landowners as that number wasn't included in your total water supply. And so to fix that, all these additional buckets for native, surface water, tier one and tier two are now accumulative totals of all available credits. And so if I were to open up this native yield, you can see right here that I have a total availability of 98.84 acre feet. And that consists of my 23 allocation that I had for carryover, and my 24 allocation that I have available for this year. And so it's showing me total availability of credits for native yield that I have on my account. Same thing for tier one and tier two. These are your three groundwaters. They're all going to show you by allocation year. One major change was for surface water. In order to display that more accurately, because of the long list of purveyors that we have, um, your purveyor is just going to show a singular total for all years on that line item. And if you do need to view it by allocation year, you can click this details box and it'll actually open up and it'll show you the APN that it's assigned to, which allocation years are there, and the total acre feet. The same thing can be done for your groundwater with native. It'll show you your APN, the allocation year was allocated, the expiration date for that, and the total acre feet on that APN.
That's great, Scott, but it's allocation year 25 now, and I don't see my 25 native yield here.
For this demo, we're just looking at the 24 allocation year at the moment.
How do I switch to my 25?
So up here at the top, you have either two options, this one, the dark blue, or this drop-down box right here. If you click that there, you can look at your 22, 23, 24, or 25 data.
So for the sake of dealing with your uh, end of allocation year 2024 billing and statements, you just want to make sure that you're on water year 24 so that you're looking at these calculations correctly.
Correct. The dashboard will automatically bring you to 2025 by default. And so when you're coming on here to do your other items, you're going to want to make sure that you switch this down to 24.
Well, that's fantastic. I don't know if you have another feature you want to show me, but either show me that, and then I have a question, which is, okay, well, maybe I look at my calculations here and I think, ooh, I might need some credits. I don't have all those credits like you have in your demo. And I want to know, how do I buy credits? And show me some features like that.
Yeah, so one of the new features that we added this year is if you come over to this left-hand side menu under billing and click that drop down, there is a new line item called credit deals. So what credit deals are credit deals are a tool that was added by the GSA to help adopt some of the board modifications of purchasable credits for the 22 tiered water, the 23 tiered water, and the 24 mitigation tiered water that we've talked about in previous videos.
And so once I do that and I have my credits, well, now my concern is to make sure my credits are used in the order that I want them to be used. So how do I make sure that my surface water credits are used before my groundwater credits?
Yeah, so what you want to do is you'll want to go to your credit manager. If you go to your credit manager before this, it will kick you over to the credit deals and make sure that you close this out. So either select the numbers that you need to right here. If you don't want to purchase anything, just leave it as zeros. You'll go ahead and hit submit. And then that'll go ahead and unlock your credit manager, which you can find over here on the left under billing. Once in your credit manager, it's going to show you this overall summary up here at the top by bucket of what was available, what was used, and what's remaining. So very simply, if you come over here at the end, it shows you a line item of total available, what was used, and how many credits you're going to have for carryover into 2025. To change your priority of use, similar to last year and in 22, you'll hit this Start Managing Credits. You'll go ahead over to Order of Use. You'll use these up and down arrows to go ahead and move your priority. The default priority right now is groundwater first, then surface water, then any at cost water. For example, that 23 tier 1 water is $500 an acre foot when used. So that one's down here at the bottom. If you purchased mitigation, that'd be down here. If you extended and converted any credits and paid money on that tiered water, it would be right here. And then once you get that settled, we added a new box for surface water priority of use. The reason being is that we found that within a singular APN, they can hold multiple sources of purveyor water. A great example is LSID, for example. They get both LSID water from Friant and they also have a bituminous supply that gets mixed in as well. And so you can have a singular APN that has multiple purveyor sources of water. And so similar to the order of use, you'll have multiple options right here based on your account. And then you can use the up and down arrows to go ahead and move those. Once you've settled on your priority, you'll just continue on through your manual. Your auto transfer is automatically turned on. That's to mitigate your bill as much as possible. And then you'll come down here to submit and update settings. Once it goes and updates, you'll be able to review everything. You'll be able to look at your APN. We added the field column so we can better see line items by fields, and then review your balance. If everything here is green with a positive, then that means that there's a surplus carryover credit moving into 25. If there's a red number with a negative, then that means that particular APN is an overdraft.
That's great. So looking at your default order of use, it actually looks like the system is trying to, by default, rid me of my overdraft without charging me any money to buy credits.
Correct.
So is that the right analysis? So that's what it's doing. It's trying to mitigate my overdraft at the same time, charge me as least amount as possible to do it.
Correct. There is one caveat that landowners do need to be aware of, is some landowners who own multiple APNs, whether that's in a purveyor area or in a groundwater dependent area, they may find that they have positive credits on their account, but some APNs still have a negative overdraft. In many cases, that's because the groundwater is being used first, and that surface water, due to the rules and regulations of that on that purveyor, has to stay within that purveyor boundary and isn't free to travel to some APNs. And so some landowners with the defaults may still have a bill, but if they switch that surface water first and free up that native yield, then that native yield can go and transfer over and mitigate that bill.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Scott. Well, thanks, Scott, very much. Very informative. Thank you, Brianna, for being behind the camera and helping us out today. As always, Scott, always a pleasure. Thank you, everybody out there watching the video. And if I need help, Scott, how do I get it?
So you can reach me at our local line, 559-697-6095. You can also get a hold of us at our groundwater@ekgsa.org email as well.
Perfect. Well, that's Scott, and I'm Chris. Thank you for joining us at the water table.
Thank you.